Cody, I only agree with the first thing that you said. The rest of it is a whole bunch of BS, plain and simple. Because the first thing you said is that before there was religion, before religion came into play, that marriage was already an institution, and you're absolutely right. Marriage is an institution that is bigger than religion, because marriage is a cultural institution that's been around much longer than any religion has ever been around to our knowledge. Now, then you messed up when you start talking about that Adam and Eve were the first marriage and that God was the witness of that marriage and so on and so forth, how you would probably explain it. But the fact of the matter is this: there is absolutely zero proof that Adam and Eve ever existed. You cannot prove their existence at all. You can't even prove the Garden of Eden, so you can't prove that your God created Adam and Eve and they were married and they had children and so on and so forth. But even if you could prove that that tribe existed, based on biblical chronology, your Bible would only put them at 6,600 something BCE, which would mean that the Sumerians, the Akkadians, the people of Turan Tepe, Göbekli Tepe, that those civilizations are older, that the Indus Valley is older, that the Chinese and Manchurian, they're older, that those cultures that lived in that area, that the cultures that lived in the Americas are older, the cultures that lived in Southern Africa, older. All these other cultures we have found to be older, and in all of these cultures we have found the institution of marriage. One more easily to find would be to look up and research the civilizations of the Akkadians and the Sumerians in the documentation found in Nineveh that demonstrates that those civilizations existed much longer than your biblical stories before your God was ever created. So therefore, marriage is not created by your God. Marriage is an institution that man created on his own because of the community and communal nature of man. That is why they were created. That's why it was created, not because of your God. And the fact that you say that the marriage ceremony is something that makes it where every culture now has marriage ceremonies because of your God. These cultures had ceremonies without even knowing your God existed, without even being a part of this Adamic uh, relationship. And that, yes, I do know some atheist couples who went to a courthouse, did not have a ceremony at all. They signed the marriage certificate, the judge signed the marriage certificate, and they are legally married according to the United States of America. So they are legally married. As far as being married under the eyes of your God, if a person does not believe in your God, then your God doesn't matter. He's inconsequential. There's no reason. He has no purpose. He serves no purpose because they don't believe in your God. So your God has no authority over their own personal agency. So therefore, that statement is your own personal wishful thinking to make it relevant to your God, to which it's not at all. So you can take that part and cast it aside because it's unnecessary, not needed, and is not true, and you cannot prove it to be true because you cannot prove that your God exists. And when earlier I said before they created your God, because I know you're going to say something to the effect that your God is eternal, you cannot prove that your God is eternal. The name Yahweh, the name Jehovah, El, did not come into existence until El, at the earliest, El came into existence about 7,000 years ago. At its earliest, in the time frame of the Akkadians and the Sumerians. Most likely, you'll find Enki and Enlil prior to El. And even prior to that, we have the civilizations of Turan Tepe and Göbekli Tepe, which has not named any deity, but certainly El has not been there. Now, Yahweh comes much later. Yahweh doesn't come about until you get into the Canaanite eras, until you get roughly into the 1600s BCE through the 1600 BCE on into where then Ezra combined El and Yahweh to be one at around 500 BCE. So you don't have that existing stuff, that God. You have Israel. You have the not Israeli. You have the Merneptah stele that talks about Israelites. You have another stele, the Massa, I think the Mansa stele, that mentions Yahweh, but doesn't mention Yahweh as far as being the Israelite God, just saying nomadic people, to which the Midianites were a nomadic people that worshiped Yahweh during that time frame, and most likely it was in reference to those people. So therefore, your God wasn't even created until around the 16th century BCE, 17th century BCE at the earliest, most likely. And yes, so that means your God was created, just like all gods are the creations of man. And man then dictates the personality of that God. This is why your Old Testament God act just like the people of the culture to which it was written about. But you have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.